What's up, friends? Good morning from beautiful Pensacola, Florida, where, contrary to what everybody in Kentucky believes, we do get fall colors. I got these leaves all over my kayak this morning. Now, it's a little foggy this morning, but this afternoon, the sun's going to break through. It's going to be in the mid-70s, and it's going to be a perfect day for fishing. Anytime you guys see me out on the water fishing, this bad boy right here is what I'm probably sitting on. I bought this right after we moved to Pensacola, and it has been an amazing piece of equipment. Now, it comes equipped with the Titan Propel, or actually the native Propel pedal drive. That's a lot to say, a lot of P's out there. And this thing's awesome. I never have to get a paddle out. I always keep one in the boat with me just in case something goes wrong. But this thing has gotten me all over the place with just the power of my legs. Here lately, though, I've been wanting to take some longer runs in my kayak outside of just being in the bayou and at the edge and things like that. And this thing just is really tough to do that with. Not because you can't, you definitely can, but it can become an all-day adventure if you're going very far out with a pedal drive. So I started researching, finding ways for me to be able to put a motor on my kayak. Now, let me preface this by saying, in the state of Florida, if you put a motor on any type of vessel, you do have to get it licensed. So I don't want anybody running out there and throwing motors on their kayak, because you will get tagged by the Fish and Wildlife or Coast Guard. I'm not sure who monitors that, but you do have to get these things licensed if you put a motor on them, which I'm leaving this afternoon to do, as long as everything works. We're going to build this thing out today. I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride and show you exactly what we're doing. So I was all over the place trying to find a way to put a trolling motor on this kayak. I went onto Austin Canoe and Kayak, which, if you like kayak fishing or just kayaks in general, is an amazing site. They basically have any aftermarket part for your kayak that you could possibly want. So this transom mount came from Austin Canoe and Kayak, and it turns out that these things are specifically designed to put a transom on your native kayaks that use the Propel drive. This literally puts your trolling motor right here. You use the same hole that you use for your pedal drive, and you can run a trolling motor directly down where your pedal drive goes on your native kayaks. Now, guys, here's going to be the tricky part of this. You have got to make sure you check what the weight limits on your kayak are. Mine is plenty big enough for this, but this battery is heavy. The trolling motor is heavy, much heavier than what the Propel pedal drive is that originally goes in there. So you definitely want to make sure that your kayak can handle you, your gear, and the weight that you're going to add by doing this. Most of the Titan series I know can handle it. I'm not sure about the smaller natives. They may not. But all you're going to do is pop this battery. I've already put a plastic box in here to make sure that we don't have any kind of water issues or anything like that underneath of there. And now, guys, the only thing really left to do is drop the trolling motor in. So one of the first mistakes I made while putting all this together, if you are putting this on a native watercraft, you have to use a two-blade prop, not a three-blade prop. Now, the reason that is, if you have a three-blade prop, that usually comes at about a 10-inch diameter. You've only got about a 5-inch hole to drop this down into. So if you don't have the two-blade prop that you can run directly up and down, it will not work. You'll hit your well top, and it just won't go in there. So you have to make sure you're using a two-blade system. It's very simple. Drops in the same hole, goes right here on the transom. I'm going to put that right there, and then you just tighten in your transom just like you would if you were mounting that on any other boat. So last but certainly not least, we have to get this handle turned around. All trolling motors come pre-made for a transom mount in the rear of the boat, which means you're in front of it driving it. Obviously on this kayak, I'm going to be driving it from this seat, not the bow of the boat. Very, very simple fix. There's going to be a bolt right here. All you have to do is loosen that bolt. Now, there is going to be a nut on the back side of this. You want to make sure you catch that and you don't lose it, because as you take this bolt out, it is going to fall. I'm going to push that out, which can be more difficult than what you would think. Once you get that taken out, it is literally as simple as turning this handle around. Make sure your bar is locked, and that's going to keep it from moving. And then you just have to get that lined back up right here. Make sure that nut is back where it goes, and then you're just going to tighten it back in. So now the one thing that I'm sure you're gonna ask is, will this come out? And yes, it will. It's no different than your pedal drive. You gotta get your props lined up. Once you make sure that they are lined up, you're just gonna loosen this, slide it straight up, pull your mount, raise that like that, tighten it in, you're good to go.
Gotta get it right now. Yeah, push all the limits with you right now. Gotta get it right now. Yeah, push all the limits with you right now. Right now, get it right now, right now, get it right now.
All right, guys, so maiden voyage with the trolling motor. Pretty well. There's definitely a couple kinks I got to work out. I realized when I got out here on the water that the transom is actually moves back and forth, and I don't have it set just right. So it'll definitely take me getting it adjusted to make it work. But other than that, it's pulling the kayak fine. I was definitely a little worried about the weight of the battery in the front of it, but not a non-issue there. It rolled right through that with no problem whatsoever. The bow of the boat's not too far down in the water, which I'm a big dude, so I definitely balance out the back of it to put a little more weight in the back. I may eventually try to get the battery mounted behind my seat, simply because I can't keep the scupper plugs in. And the one thing, if you're very familiar with native watercraft at all, is you know that these things take on water terrible through the scupper holes. And the trolling motor, where it's so powerful, it actually slings water up through the well and it gets in the boat. So I can't keep the scupper plugs in because obviously I have to be able to let the water drain out. So a couple little minor adjustments, but I think overall it's going to work. I'm not going to take it very far today. I kind of want to see what it'll do. I'm just going to play around here in Bayou Chico, and I still have to get it licensed. I wanted to make sure everything was going to work right. You were allowed to come out, I'm pretty sure, and do kind of like a sea trial to make sure everything's going to work, which it looks like it's going to. So when I finish up here, I'm going to go down to the tax collector's office and go ahead and get my paperwork done to get it licensed and make sure it's on the water legal. So I'm looking forward to making the run out to the bridge. I'll make sure we make a video for that first one. But for now, we're going to do a little fishing. Hope we can hook into something. All right, guys, so the trolling motor on the kayak worked out even better than I expected. I can't wait to take it out to the bridge. I went this afternoon to get it titled and registered, and that was a bit of a fiasco. Should be able to get it taken care of tomorrow. They were asking for stuff. I had one lady sitting beside her telling her that she didn't need what she was asking me for, and it was a certificate of origin. I had the bill of sale, which should have been all that I needed to get it, but neither here nor there. We'll have a license tomorrow. It'll be legal on the water. I do want to take a minute and note the Minn Kota EnduraMax is not a saltwater rated trolling motor. So first and foremost, if you put it in saltwater, it does void the warranty on it. I want to let everybody know that because Minn Kota does make a specific saltwater trolling motor, but they are outrageously expensive. So I kind of weighed my risk versus reward, stuck that one on the native. I will have that in saltwater and brackish water. I did a ton of research through forums and things like that though, and almost everybody out there talked about how they had had their trolling motor on their kayak or their boat or whatever for several years and had no issues with it. So at $250, if it lasts me 3 or 4 years, I'm perfectly happy with that. I understand it voids the warranty, but if it lasts me that long, I'm more than happy with that. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this build out of my native Titan 10.5, and I can't wait to make you guys some really cool fishing videos on it. And this is Ron signing out. We'll see you on the next one.